Welcome to Josh's House of Nerd podcast.
Hello, Nerd Nation. I'm Josh, and I welcome you to the podcast. Grab a cold evergreen goblet of blue milk and make yourself comfortable here at my House of Nerd. Now, for tonight's sponsor, let me ask you, do you like to work with your hands? Do you like to build things? Do you like to use the right tool for the job? Well, for a limited time, you can purchase the perfect tool for any job. Try the new and improved Grapthor's Hammer. With Grapthor's Hammer, you will be able to build anything or nail anything you want. Get yours now while supplies last.
So we had a mixed this weekend.
Of what?
Of crazy, excited Josh, and then sweet, sultry, weirdly sexual overtones Josh.
Oh, you like? I like to mix it up, dude. You know? Keep it real,
yeah,
you know,
yeah, you effectively mixed it up.
It's effective.
I don't even think about it. Like you guys tease me lately about it, but I don't even think about it. And then you guys bring it up. I'm like, oh yeah, I didn't even think about it when I don't. Anyway,
Well, somebody has to tease you about it.
No, I'm glad you do. It keeps me on my toes, man.
And we can't rely on the commenters. They're oddly silent.
Yeah. We did gain another 2 this week, so
All
right. As you guys can all hear, Crit and John are with us today, and today on the podcast, we are on the topic for the month, the last week of this topic, which is movies that make us think of other people that are in the podcast. And this week, we're talking about Crit's pick, the 1999 movie Galaxy Quest, directed by Dean Parisot, starring Tim Allen, Sigourney Weaver, Alan Rickman, Tony Shalhoub, Sam Rockwell, Daryl Mitchell, Rainn Wilson, and Justin Long. It tells the story of the cast of a fictional defunct cult TV series, Galaxy Quest, who are visited by actual aliens who think the series is an accurate documentary and drawn into a real interstellar conflict. Let's talk about this movie, guys. What'd you think?
So wait, first of all, we have to ask Crit who this film reminded you of.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, John, obviously.
Obviously.
No, I mean, Josh.
Okay.
It's actually not John. It's definitely a Josh. It's a Josh film.
It is.
Hey, can you go into more detail?
I mean, I can.
Is there more thought to it?
Yeah. Can you please illuminate Josh's obsessions for our many viewers?
Well, no, it's like Josh he's part of a wide array of fandoms, but what's his name who plays the main fan?
Justin Long.
Justin Long, yeah.
He
always, his enthusiasm and then kind of pull back, but then immediate enthusiasm always reminds me of Josh. Josh will start gushing about whatever he's currently into. If he doesn't get immediate feedback, he'll pull back a little bit and be like, well, it's not, it's not a thing. And if you're just like, no, I like it too. He's like, okay, cool. And he just comes at you again. So like, that's what always reminds me of Josh.
You got to test the waters. I don't want to overwhelm somebody with my nerdiness.
Where Justin Long's like, I know it's fake. We all know it's fake. And you're just going through that. And it's like, it's real. I knew it.
Yeah, exactly.
I knew it. It's all
now that
real.
you point that out,
Always
I can totally
Josh.
see that in myself, man. I do. I don't think
it's the deepest take possible on Josh, but yeah.
It's because I'm a multifaceted gem of a person, Crit.
Yes,
I was going to go more of an onion with many layers.
With many layers.
And they make me cry.
More like a cake, because people like cakes.
Hey, people love onions. I love onions.
Nobody loves onions.
If they're grilled or sauteed.
Onions.
So you have to prepare them before you can really accept them.
Well, we have to prepare for Josh. I mean, before you can accept Josh into your heart.
You see a cake fully formed, you're just like, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm here, I like it, and everything else like that. That's Josh.
I'm trying to disprove the onion one that you just said, John, of because I know I can be a big smelly guy sometimes. I know I do have layers sometimes and stuff that if you go deep enough, there is there is a core of
Fine. He's an
something.
onion flavored cake.
Oh, love it. Boom.
That's worse though. Somehow.
Boom.
Somehow that got worse.
How about a dark chocolate cake with sautéed onions on top? Huh?
Sounds gross also.
You get the grossness, and then you get the deep down gooiness, awesomeness of that.
So you're saying we have to scrape a layer off you to actually enjoy you?
Some days. Depends on the day.
Anyway, about this movie.
Anyways.
Speaking of dark chocolate, how do we segue this? All right, come on. Let's look. We can edit this out later, right?
Nothing gets edited. You know this by now.
Yeah, it's true. Very true.
Except
because I love this kind of talking in it.
But let's start with the cast then.
Yeah,
I always love. So my favorite part, I love Alan Rickman to death, and I love him in this, but I still think he's a little overshadowed by Sam Rockwell's character in my mind. To me,
do you really?
It's just I love Sam Rockwell in this film so much. Like everything he says is just gold. His delivery is on point. Like everything that Sam Rockwell does in this film is basically everything I love about Sam Rockwell in one film. Like it's just great.
What do they call him? The something sidekick? The perky sidekick?
No, it's oh man.
Because it frames him
exactly
the
plucky comic relief.
Yeah. Plucky comic relief, which is really true. He's not nameless
when he's freaking out that he's gonna die, and when he goes to the planet, like it's just all of his delivery is great. When he's doing the echo in the beginning, when he's trying to echo their names. Tony Weber, and they're like looking at him like, what the crap is this guy on? Oh man.
Yeah, he is pretty cool. He does there's not too many things I don't like him in. He's a it's really funny. I don't always think of him like first of like, the top actors or that he doesn't come at like top, but whenever I see him in a movie, I really do enjoy his performances. And stuff.
And I think he just has a fantastic range. Like he's able to do comedic roles very well, and then he's able to do dramatic roles. I mean, look at him in Moon, and play across from himself in Moon, and Kevin Spacey, I guess. But
that's true. Moon is great.
His depth of acting, like his range is just fantastic. And I think we see some of it here, but obviously this is a very comedic role, and he hams it up just so well. So well in this. And I think this was the first film with Sam Rockwell that I saw in.
Really?
I'm trying to think if I saw one before I saw this one, but I don't think so. I think this is the first film that I really saw him in.
Yeah, he's both him and Rickman are just amazing.
That's
whenever
a lie.
They're on screen, they're phenomenal.
The Green Mile. I saw him in the Green Mile first.
Oh, I forgot that he was even in the Green Mile.
Yeah, well, he does a fantastic job in the Green Mile too, playing the actual killer. Spoilers. Whoops, my bad. But the actual killer of the little girls that the big guy's in for. I'm trying to remember the big guy's name.
Yeah.
Anyways, so it just fantastic actor. Fantastic range, and I'm so grateful. I think Galaxy Quest and Green Mile that year, because they both came out that same year, were maybe his like shot to stardom, really, because then a lot of his big roles started rolling in after that. Oh, yeah. So I just fantastic actor,
and you can talk about that. There's a lot of up and comers in this movie. I mean, you got Justin Long. This was Rainn Wilson's first movie. I mean, this introduced not only like people who are very established, but brought a lot of like soon to be very, popular, known people, which, I love it when movies do that. And they shined, all of them. Rainn Wilson doesn't have a huge part, but when he is in it, and he's got a couple speaking roles, he's awesome. He's hilarious.
Yeah. And I think for Tony Shalhoub, how do you say his
Shalhoub.
last name?
Yeah.
Shalhoub. So for Tony Shalhoub, I think this was kind of his I don't know, his shot into movies more
It's
or
one of his
less. Like
first out of Wings, if I remember correctly.
yeah. Well, and he did a little bit in Frasier, I think, as well. Oh, he did like one episode on Frasier. So yeah,
Oh,
I think this is kind of his big thing out of Wings. He was in Gattaca,
that's right. He
then
was.
1997 Gattaca. He was in Men in Black, but again, the Men in Black role was
He
super
was one of
small.
the aliens. Yeah,
Yep,
the
in the
alien
very
that they shoot
beginning.
his head off all the time, if I remember right.
Yep.
Yep.
That's him.
In the
So,
first
but
one.
I really think Galaxy Quest was maybe the one that kind of pushed him in there. And then he, of course, did
He-
Spy Kids 2 years later. So who
You know
knows?
what I love about Shaloub? I forget he can do this because he's also got a lot of range. Because I used to watch him in Monk a lot, and I loved Wings. I'm one of those huge fans of Wings. I watched like every episode of it every night. It was like one of those ones every Thursday night I was there watching Cheers and Wings.
Yeah,
But
wasn't Wings just a knockoff of Cheers? Like I've never watched Wings.
no, not even close. It's out of I mean, it's kind of got same, there's some similar tropes there, but it's out of a airport in Nantucket and stuff. And Tony Shalhoub's a taxi driver for that airport, or one of the few and stuff. The show is, if you ever get a chance to watch like some reruns, it might be a little dated, but it's hilarious and stuff. I still
Yeah.
get a kick out. Me and my brother still quote Wings quite often. There's a couple of different phrases that we still say from time to time. Like if you ever hear me say that's a Cordova, we think it's funny because that's a sandwich that they always order in Wings, and my brother's middle name is Cordova. So anyways, that's why we repeat it a lot.
That's a little insight even for Wings though. Like but yeah, no. So yeah,
I love
you're
his
right.
deadpan. I love him at the beginning. The Shaloub like brings it where he's just kind of like the I don't give a crap. Well, I guess we'll figure it out. I guess just kind of deadpanish.
Mhm.
Oh
Well,
god, it is, and it's so funny.
and then you have the actors in Galaxy Quest that needed no jumping off point, like Sigourney Weaver. Like they
Love
definitely
her.
did not need Galaxy Quest in her repertoire, but I'm so glad they got her.
Her
Did a
comedy chops in
fantastic
this
job.
show are awesome. Yeah.
She's not really known for comedy, and yet she pulls it off, man. She is hilarious in her part.
I have
As
one job on this ship.
I know, I love it. Let me do my job.
When she's freaking out with the stompers and clashers and stuff in the background while he's trying to get it's just great. It's
Oh
so
yeah,
good.
yeah.
That's the part where they dub over the F-bomb too.
That is the part where they dub over the F-bomb.
F this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is exactly what the character would say if they saw that.
Oh, yeah.
There's no
Yeah,
way
absolutely.
they would say, "Oh, screw this." Well,
Absolutely.
PG-13, so
There was
No,
actually, they
she's-
said that they dumbed it down. Like they didn't dumb it down. They backed off on it because she had her shirt. Like if you see other outtakes, they were kind of starting to go but they originally were going for an R rating, and they had her shirt because like very much more zipped down when they
Mhm.
were going for that R rating. And there's some outtakes of it, of them kind of going for that show kind of when they originally were starting to do the kind of a little bit R rating. And because if you look at like the outtakes of her, like of when she's talking about the character, she's the one that I was watching the behind the scenes on the disc, and they were talking about how Sigorney's one of the things that she wanted to be like that person that's in Galaxy Quest. Like if I was that part, I want to bear my assets. And so she's like, if she says that she went out of her way as an actress to always like pop her like breasts up and to make it like the first thing, because those are the things that she's showing off, or at least she thinks that the character might be in the show. I just thought that was a funny in the behind the scenes when she was speaking of her character.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And yeah, she's amazing. I love everything that she's in and stuff. I don't need to sell myself on her too much.
Well, and then so I think this is the only other. I'm trying to think if I'm right or not. I'm going through
What's
my
that?
head. I want to say this is one of her only other films where she's in space too, considering Alien. So you have Alien, I guess Avatar. I forget she's
Avatar,
in
yeah.
Avatar as well.
Mhm.
Yeah. So never mind. I thought this was like one of her other only space shows. She's also
Trying to
in
pull
Finding
those
Dory.
weird facts out and going,
Yeah.
well, that didn't work out.
my little brother is fascinated with Sigourney Weaver. Like
Uh-huh.
he had a Sigourney
Really?
Weaver movie marathon
Uh-huh.
about a year ago, and it was just like updating us in our family Discord of like all the Sigourney Weaver movies he was watching.
I'd like to unsubscribe from Sigourney Weaver facts, please.
All right, you're subscribed to the
resubscribed.
12-month
Thank you.
package. Yeah. Oh,
Is that
man.
like a Jelly of the Month Club type thing where you get like new things about
It's a-
Sigourney?
Just an
It
old
always
meme.
sometimes it surprises me where she shows up, like in the, like I said, Finding Dory.
Mhm.
Suddenly Sigourney Weaver is in there with her voice, and I'm just like, what the heck? So
Yeah, she's and you can notice it pretty well, pretty fast. Yeah, she's like the PA, isn't she? Like the PA noise in the background of
no,
like
she's like the literal. They use Sigourney Weaver as herself as the like
that's right,
spokesperson for the
the aquarium.
aquarium.
Okay, I remember that.
So
Yeah, she's awesome. And let's see, who else
and
have we talked? Tim
Ghostbusters,
Allen.
of course. Oh yeah, Tim Allen.
And this is one of his. This is one of his, like, I don't think it was
I
his first feature. I can't remember if Santa Claus was after or before this one, but this is one of
I'm
his bigger like premiere movies.
Okay, random. Rickman.
I accept that he is a good actor and he does great comedy and he's been in some good shows. He's not my favorite person, my favorite actor. Not
you
as a
don't-
person like that.
Yeah, if you
Just
don't
as an
notice
actor.
it, it'll
go
blow
ahead,
your
sorry.
mind.
What's that?
So Alan had to choose between Galaxy Quest and Bicentennial Man.
Oh.
He chose Galaxy Quest, so Robin Williams
Serious.
got Bicentennial Man.
We could have had
We
Robin
could have had
Williams and
we
Galaxy
could have had
Quest.
Robin Williams in Galaxy Quest.
Wow.
Yeah.
I wonder where.
Wait,
that
did
would
they
have been.
offer him? Was
They
it
o-
Tim
they offered-
Allen or Robin Williams for Galaxy Quest?
No,
or-
they offered it to Alan.
Okay.
Alan was choosing between Galaxy Quest and Bicentennial Man at the time. He obviously
Oh.
chose Galaxy Quest, and so because of that, Bicentennial Man went
Fell
to
to
Robin
Robin.
Williams. It's not like
Okay.
Robin Williams was offered Galaxy Quest.
Okay, I got it.
Man, I think it'd be hard. I think it's one of those. I don't know. It feels close to a titular role where we're not going to. You couldn't see someone else fulfilling Tim Allen's character in Galaxy Quest. Like it'd be hard
Well, did you hear?
because Tim Allen can pull that self-centered douchebag off really, really well.
Mhm.
And I don't know. Robin Williams can.
Well,
do
there
that
was
as
two
well.
other people that they tried to get before Allen and stuff. Did you guys read about that? Where it was Alec Baldwin and I didn't write it out. It's but one thing that's interesting about it was Harold Ramis was going to direct this, and when they couldn't get Alec Baldwin and the other guy I can't think of,
Wait,
what
Ramis and then Alec Baldwin.
this movie was
This is
originally
Hunt for-
attached to do by Ramis. Yes.
This is Hunt for Red October in space.
Yep, I got you. Everything was going to be about Hunt for Red October, and
Yep.
totally got it.
Yep.
in
This
there.
is Hunt for Red October in space.
What? Why
if,
is that?
If we had Alec Baldwin in it,
Alec Baldwin. Yeah.
Oh, okay, I see that. Okay,
I think
just
I
Alec
could see Alec
Baldwin.
Baldwin doing this very well.
Well, he
Actually,
did
He'd
you
not.
know,
probably be fine at it. Yeah.
He turned it down.
seeing him
hard.
in 30 Rock, like his character in 30 Rock, seeing like he's another one of those actors that has a really impressive range in my mind.
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting because Alan pulled off that, douchebag to hero sort of transition pretty well in this movie. So I don't.
I
I
absolutely
agree with you. I think
Yeah.
he did very well in doing that.
Yeah, I'm not trying to disparage Alan's acting. I think he did a fantastic job. I like you said, I didn't think about it too much before, but he does. He pulls it off to where you start to like and root for the character towards the end.
Mhm.
Like you see the moments where he starts to make the changes in his life and like how he views his coworkers and those around him. Like he does a really good job of bringing that to the screen in a very short amount, a very short running time. So
Mhm.
I think
I looked up the other person that they offered it to. It was Steve Martin.
okay, I couldn't see Steve Martin in it.
That would be interesting.
I
Yeah.
can't see
Airplane
him
in
doing
space.
this.
I mean, yeah, maybe. I mean, you take a sprinkle of like I don't know, what's the one where he plays the faith healer and he comes around on it. Like that's a very
Okay.
much a douchebag to sort of hero transition, and he pulls that off in that movie.
That's true.
I could see him. I don't know. I think he could do it. I think it would be a different movie.
It would.
With
I think
him.
it'd be a very different movie. I think Alan pulls this one off. I don't know. Maybe it's because Alan is in the movie. I have a hard time
Yeah.
seeing other people in it.
Yeah.
You know, being Baldwin. I know he can do comedy. I've watched 30 Rock. He's great. Alec Baldwin, Beetlejuice. He's great in. You know, when it comes to comedy, but it's a different comedy than like say
Mhm.
Tim Allen does. And I think I would lean a little bit more to Tim Allen's comedy and stuff like that than maybe Alec Baldwin's or Steve Martin. And I love both of them. I love The Jerk. You know, Steve Martin and The Jerk. That's one of my favorites. And anyways, I'm glad that they went with Tim Allen. I know he's not everybody's cup of tea, but you know, he's awesome. Which also was why Harold Ramis dropped out. He wasn't his cup of tea either. When Harold Ramis was being forced to take Tim Allen as the director, and Harold Ramis couldn't see it either. And later, when he was actually did the part, and they asked him about, okay, you know, hey, you were gonna do this movie. I mean, he was attached to the movie almost. I mean, right almost to the very end until they couldn't. You know, they hired Tim Allen, and he says, well, basically he said, well, you know what, I made a mistake. Basically, you know, he very clearly pulled it off, and I just couldn't see it. Is what Ramis said. So I thought that was you know, kind of a good job, you know. Hey, I didn't do it, but you know, maybe I should have, type thing. I don't know.
Mhm.
But anyways, I think he does a great job. The one thing that I think Tim Allen really pulls off is he says he doesn't base this off of Shatner, but there's a lot of Shatner-esque stuff in there that he does, some mannerisms and things like that, but a lot of maybe other, you know, Star Trek or Star Wars type, you know, captain type mannerisms that he does pull off, and I think he does a good job at doing it, and he's successful in the part.
Yeah.
And so, but that's what makes this movie so much fun. I mean, this is, you know, is those little like Easter eggs to, you know, Star Trek, Star Wars, you know, any kind of science fiction out there. Heck, they throw out, there's a little Easter egg that they think that the main aliens, the Klaatu, well, that's the same people from The Day the World Stood Still.
Mm-hmm.
And so they think there's like a comparison to that. You know, it might be the same race or something like that. But, you know, these are the fun Easter eggs that, you know, they kind of peppered in there and made it just fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, you can draw a direct comparison to like this. And then like how they come back like 17 years later, here's the new Galaxy Quest. Like just kind of like what they did with Star Trek The Next Generation versus the old Star Trek. You know, very much an homage to that in many ways. And stuff, which is amazing. So one thing that I thought was kind of funny also was that I was reading an article that Patrick Stewart, knowing that there was a lot of things that were kind of comparing and they were kind of riffing off of a lot of Star Trek stuff, he refused to see it for like a long time, thinking that it was making fun of Star Trek and mannerisms of like what he did or Shatner did. And actually Jonathan Frakes actually talked him finally into seeing the movie, and he came back and he said he was very, very pleased with finally seeing it. And he was glad that Jonathan Frakes actually talked him into watching it. So it's got a seal of approval from not only just Patrick Stewart, but Shatner himself actually likes this movie a lot as well.
Yeah, it's a charming movie. It doesn't really so much make fun of nerd culture. I mean, it does. It pokes.
No, I think it's embracing it and celebrating it.
Yeah, in some ways, yeah, for sure.
So if I was go ahead.
At the end of the day, it's not a movie about nerd culture versus the world or accepting nerd culture. It's a movie about the relationships between these people and, you know, something that they all shared in their lives. And it just so happens to be that it was space, and, you know, that's what's the driving force. I never felt like this movie was a nerd culture icon, you know, talking about it all the time or something like that. And, you know, it never felt that way. And it has the moments where they're, you know, he's in the bathroom and he hears the people poking fun. And then you have Justin Long's character where, you know, representing the Trekkies and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I never felt like the movie was this whole, nerd culture against the world type thing. Like, it wasn't about the nerd culture for me. It was always about
I didn't
the
think it was
people.
nerd culture against the world. I thought they were celebrating nerd culture and
Mm,
just bringing the good things out of it to
uh,
show in this movie, along with it's still in the background though, and like what you were saying
I don't
before,
think
this
it's
is
a
more of a
positive
buddy
take.
movie.
No, I
What's
don't think
that?
it's a positive take on nerd culture.
You
I think
don't?
at best it's neutral, but I
Okay.
think everything that um, you know they never portrayed the nerd culture positively, right? Like, it's like the fans and stuff like that, the cast are like kind of put off by it, especially when they're signing autographs and stuff like that. Obviously the bathroom scene, I think even later on, like, the parents like, well, at least he's going outside, or at least he's outside, right? Like, it's like, it's not, it doesn't, I don't ever think that the film itself gets into the point where it's like the nerds are actually, um, this a good thing to be a nerd, right? Um, in your, or a super fan, I would say, not even necessarily a nerd, just let's say a super fan. They're all kind of portrayed as kind of weird and hero worshipy and stuff like that. And just because Justin Long's character and his friends end up being useful to the plot, in that their fandom gives them information necessary, to solve the problem. That's cool, but that's also, I mean, that's good, but I don't necessarily think that the film is portraying it as cool.
No, I would agree with what
Um,
you said. Absolutely.
like I said, I think
Absolutely.
it's
That's a good
neutral
point.
at best,
Okay.
because I think it's always poking fun at fandom.
No, that's a good way to put it. Since you put it that way, I can't disagree with that take on it, because
I mean,
you're not wrong on any of that.
John's not wrong. It's not about fandom.
Yeah.
It's actually about like kind of uh what, character growth kind of.
Yeah,
It's kind of,
I would say so.
yeah, it's not, yeah, it's kind of hard to boil down Galaxy Quest because it's basically a bunch of bits and plot points. There's not a whole lot deeper to it, but that's fine. It's not like they come out on the other end and go, it's good to be, a sci-fi fan, or it's good to be. It's more along the lines of like, treat people around you better, sort of, I guess. Because you never know
Yeah.
when they're going to help you, with an alien race and their, attackers.
um, I mean, I like John's kind of take on it of, and what you just said about, friends, that, it is kind of a, hey, we're in this together. Let's make the best of it. Hey, let's, it's like old friendships that maybe used to be there now coming back together through shared experience.
Yeah,
And
maybe it's finding friends in coworkers. Because I don't know if they were ever actually friends.
Is that ever a thing? Do you ever find friends and coworkers? I mean,
Said a former coworker.
Yeah.
Right. That's the point.
I know. I'm
You
just
guys
saying it
were
because it's not like the
coworkers?
audience knows that.
That's true. Sorry, I apologize. We are all former coworkers,
Yeah.
Yes.
and yeah, and
We
that's
found
how we've met.
friendship through work.
I don't think any of us met outside of work first.
No.
I think it was all work related.
I mean, we all know that I created both of you, so yeah. There's that.
Wait, I didn't know that. Is this like the episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation where it's like I'm an android, but I don't know I'm an android and stuff? That was the
I'm the
Beta's mom
flawed,
episode.
fevered. I'm
All
a
right,
flawed, fevered dream of Crit.
All right, Brandon.
Oh my goodness.
Take it back to Star Trek every time with an analogy.
Well, I mean, we are talking about Galaxy Quest, so
Dude, and I'm here to, bring it there. Bring it to Star Trek.
Yeah.
Because everything relates to Star Trek. Yeah. Until it doesn't. I'm going to say that this is one of my favorite movies. I don't watch it that often, but when I do, I truly walk away every time just feeling like, it just makes me feel good. It's like a feel good movie,
Mhm.
It makes me, I'm rooting. It's not a deep movie. I mean, it's not. Let's just get down to the nitty-gritty. It's not. It's very surface level. But that surface level part is still very enjoyable. It's, yeah, you walk away feeling good. The good guys won against the bad guy, and so on. And every once in a while when you get a movie like this, it's okay. It's okay to have a movie like this and walk away feeling good. And I really want there to be a TV show of Galaxy Quest, and they've talked about it a few times and stuff.
I don't know.
What do you guys think about that? They've actually
No,
Amazon's
I don't
done it a few
think so.
times.
I think Galaxy Quest lives best as a standalone film. Like
They almost
I
had
don't
a
think they could,
sequel.
I don't think they could capture the magic.
Well,
You
I
don't think so?
Where would they go
No.
with it?
Yeah, that too. Like where would they go? And then
I mean, if you could get super inventive with it, like HBO's Watchmen series, where you basically take the same universe and like imagine it in a different way with different characters, but kind of reaching back, maybe you could do something interesting. But you're doing a different story in that universe. I don't know what you do with them.
You know what it kind of brings to my mind. I know that I don't think you guys have really. I know you guys have watched it a little bit, but don't watch it as much as I do. The Orville. It's very much an homage to Star Trek in a lot of ways. It was a little bit more comedic at first, but now turned more like very much Star Trek with a little bit of comedy.
Yeah, and I didn't like
and
the
I could see
Orville.
them going down a path of like the Orville or something like that.
Yeah, then I wouldn't like it. I didn't like the Orville.
I know you didn't. That's
It
why.
was way too pandering and way too obvious what was going to happen. Like it was just not. I don't know. It wasn't interesting to me. It didn't catch me at all. So, like, if they did that with Galaxy Quest, I think that'd be a loss, not a.
I would say that a better, well, and I wouldn't say exactly like the Orville. I do like the Orville, but I understand where you come from on that because you're not wrong on what they do. And it's like I said, like I've told you before, it has gotten better, but it's still not 100% better going into its third season. If they did like maybe a similar version of like the Orville in a different way, where, and what I meant by that is not necessarily like go down the same path, but maybe something like because they were going to go completely comedic with the Orville, and they kind of did a 180 on that, but stick to an actual comedic Federation type storyline in space, but more rooted in our time. Us.
yeah, and see, I think I enjoyed the Orville, but I think it wasn't my favorite. And I think if you're looking for comedic Star Trek universe, I think the Lower Decks is for you.
I
If you
was
haven't
just
watched
thinking
that
the
one
same
yet.
thing. I agree with you. I've really been enjoying the Lower Decks.
Yeah, I think that one, and it takes place in the Star Trek universe, which I appreciate. So it's not a we're tongue in cheek Star Trek, tongue in cheek Federation. No, this is the literal Federation. Like it's in the same universe, and I think they do a pretty good job.
If
with
anybody
it,
out there has
so.
Paramount Plus, check out Lower Decks if you haven't. I mean, it's the one thing that I'll say that one thing about Lower Decks that I kind of roll my eyes at every once in a while is sometimes they play a little bit too hard into like the old like tropes, of like older like callbacks to Star Trek Next Generation or the Wrath of the old the original series of Star Trek. Sometimes they play to that a little too hard, but it's still funny. I just want to make sure that that's not a total crutch. You know what I'm saying? Because the overall stories, I actually do look forward to watching that show every week. And I could see where Galaxy Quest in that kind of vein, if they made something along those lines, I could see it working, but they don't have the canon of Star Trek to lean on is the only issue with that.
Yeah, and without that star-studded cast, like without that same cast, I don't think you're going to recapture the magic of original Galaxy Quest.
That's why it's dead. So Amazon, I was reading an article that it was really, really, really close in 2016 to actually having a sequel to Galaxy Quest. But what kiboshed that was Rickman dying. They just really didn't want to do a sequel without Alan Rickman. And they're still
which
talking
says a lot because Amazon's a money grubbing, hungry company that
They could have just said company, but yeah,
yeah, that's true. I could have just said company. Pornography and Lord of the Rings. That's all we need. Don't get me started.
Okay.
I will die on that horse.
And they still are. It sounds like they
the
still have the
horse
rights
named
to it,
Hill?
so they're still trying to transition it into maybe a
Yeah.
TV show or something like that. But I don't really want them to because I agree with both of you. I don't think
I want new
would
IPs.
do it.
I want new,
Yeah, I do
fresh
too.
ideas. I want new universes. I want new everything. I want more. I'd be interested to see.
I mean, you get into the
Yeah.
problem
Anyways,
of like with that is you get new IPs and then there's like a lot of people don't support them. I mean, heck, I was talking with the Crit on Thursday night about TV shows and how it's already hard enough to support like a sci-fi TV show or something because they have a tendency to go one season, and then
Yeah.
they die. And by the way, that show I was telling you about, Crit, Debris,
Mm-hmm.
got canceled in one season,
Yep.
and it was fantastic.
Yeah.
so part of that, sorry, go ahead, Crit.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Part of that I blame on I don't know if it's Netflix that started the trend of like live fast and die fast, and like or maybe it was the late generation Sci-Fi channel, but it was let's run a season, and if it doesn't get like this stellar response, we're going to cancel it. And without realizing that even the most popular TV shows take more than a season sometimes to get up and running, or
Look at
take at
Parks
least
and
that
Rec.
first season, or take that first rough season to get things flowing and figure out what works. And so we never get that
Yeah.
matured area, and so you get all of these worlds that are just left behind. Like there was a fairly popular one on Sci-Fi that they even made a video game out of, and then that it was an MMORPG, and then that died
it's
off.
it's the one I know exactly what you're talking about. That one where it took place in St. Louis. Yeah,
And it's like it had potential, and it just had a rough season, and it was kind of growing and kind of getting bigger, and then they're like, nope, it's not big enough, so we had to cancel it. And
Yeah,
I
maybe
was
that was
talking
a
about
funding
with
issue, but
with Crit. I brought up the remake of V and how like it did get 2 seasons, but it was really getting good, and that's where they cancel. And that happens a lot too, where it starts to gain momentum, and then they just kill it. They just
Yeah.
they did it with Manifest. Thankfully, Netflix saved it for the last season, but still, that's what I'm talking about. And this is the kind of stuff that I could see happening with if you did a TV show with Galaxy
But
Quest.
I think that an executive would go, as an example, Squid Game, and
Okay.
go, it's one season, it comes out, it basically takes all the streaming for the last like month,
yeah,
the highest streaming show ever, and go, yeah, but we kind of want that. Like that's obviously it works sometimes, and just enough for us to really
yeah,
kind of bet on that. I don't really care if the world is, and maybe they care, but maybe, if it doesn't do numbers, they're not going to put anything behind it. And the problem
which
I
is
think it is
frustrating.
that oversaturation, right? It's like you
Mhm.
have
Yeah,
so many new IPs coming out to a degree. I mean, some of them are just really bad and really bad takes on other ideas,
That's
but
true.
every once in a while you get something that's interesting, but then like how does a regular person find them and understand, like if there's not enough marketing behind them and you can't see it somewhere, you don't even know it's there, and
Well,
then on top of that, people have lives. It's hard to
well,
kind
you
of
even look
watch
at like even
everything.
like us watching the Foundation right now.
Mm-hmm.
How many people have Apple TV? Is
And
how
they
far
put
is it going to go because of it's what streaming service it's on?
Yeah, and they put a huge marketing push behind them.
Yeah.
But even still, I'd be interested to know what they're. I bet they're not anywhere close to Squid Game.
Oh no.
Not a chance.
Yeah.
And Apple's got all the money.
I'm still shocked they made it.
Hopefully,
I'm a
that show
huge
gets
fan
better.
behind the books, and
well,
I'm
they've
still
got
shocked.
they've got another big series on there that they've been pushing too. The one with Jason Momoa. I
Oh,
think it's
it's
called
called like
C.
C. Yeah.
Yeah, with the blind people.
That premise looks stupid.
Oh,
So
and
maybe it's
it's
great.
it's executed badly too.
Okay, and that's what I figured. I looked at the.
It's pretty dumb to
It
watch,
Oh
did
my
not
man.
gosh!
Like
attract me at all.
you
I
suspending
I read the
disbelief.
premise, and then I watched the first trailer, and I was just like, in the trailer, I'm going, none of this makes any sense. Like none of this makes any sense at all.
You instead of suspending disbelief, you have to take it out back and shoot it, and like keep
Yeah,
shooting it until it's gone.
and then
If
you
you're
can
ever
enjoy it.
going to hope to watch and enjoy that film, and it's
Wow.
just so bad. Like the combat they're trying to do, where they're like doing it by sound, like it's just awful.
What's the new meme that's going
It's
around
like
with the two guys with pool noodles, and they have to like they're blindfolded and they have to
Oh
hit each other?
yeah,
It's exactly
yeah, and they do
that's
this
exactly what it
sword.
would be.
There
this
Yeah.
sounds like a
basically
really bad
is.
Daredevil. I mean,
And then
Well,
there's
where
so many
everybody's
potholes,
Daredevil. Yeah.
and it's just like
everybody's Daredevil.
It's a whole
And
world
there's
full of
nothing
daredevils
interesting.
wildly flinging at each other. Like it just
It's-
doesn't make any sense at all.
They're trying to be a Game of Thrones, but everyone is blind.
Yeah. And the thing that really got me though is that there are so many pretty people, well put together with great costumes. Like they
Right?
obviously spent a ton of money on the costumes in that, at least according to the trailer that I saw. And the first thing
And
I'm
nobody
thinking
would
is,
care about those.
well, the first thing I'm thinking is that there's no way any of this would look like that. Like they would look asymmetrical as hell, and nothing would be in the right place, and it doesn't really matter. Maybe they would, they'd have just enough clothes to like make themselves feel comfortable. They would not have like style, right?
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
it's like I'm already out of it thinking about that, and then when like the combat and
the
groups
combat.
of people fighting each other, I'm like, you just killed the
And
person
the-
standing next to you because you have no idea who they. Yeah, I don't know. It was just,
Yeah, it's
it
like
was
how do you
outrageous.
tell who's who? Like,
And
and it's just like some of the dumb little things, like the streak they have running through their whole city. I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. But then they show it to you once, and it actually disappears for almost the rest of the season. You're like,
does it really? Okay,
that was
Yeah,
a
I
cool
can't watch-
idea.
So yeah, TV ideas are hard, I guess, and I don't know why. Like, man, I don't. Like I said, I don't think Galaxy Quest would make it as a TV show. Like, I really don't think they could do anything with it.
No,
I'd
I
be
mean,
happy to be surprised, but I would
Me too.
totally be skeptical.
again, like he's going back to the Orville. It's barely just making it. I mean, it's doing okay, but it
Yeah.
is still finding, even into its third season, still finding itself, and it's almost retooled itself twice, trying to find that, and you could see a Galaxy Quest doing something very, very, very similar.
Yeah, and you gotta imagine the talk with the money for that show. That it's like, no, we're gonna get this. I don't know. Yeah,
Well,
I
isn't
don't-
the
I don't
money
see it
for that
working,
show the
actually.
showrunner? Isn't it Seth MacFarlane that's also the
Yeah.
executive producer? So
but he probably doesn't bet all his money on that show.
no, probably not.
He's got other
No,
people.
he
Yeah,
doesn't.
you got to have a production studio, and there's all sorts of other
keeps
monetary
actually getting
interests
moved.
involved than just the executive producer.
It
Yeah,
started
that's
at
true.
Fox, and now it's at Hulu, and now
Yeah.
I think it's and then I think it actually got sold again, and it
Yeah,
hasn't.
that doesn't
that
bode
was
well.
it was sold twice in its third season, and the only reason they claimed was because of the pandemic. But
And what's it on now?
it's streaming on Hulu only now.
Oh, it's only a Hulu. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Fox moved it to Hulu only.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I don't know. It didn't catch me at all, and that I don't wish for it not to exist. If people like it, I'm totally cool with it. But I'm not.
I like it
watching
enough because I think the production value is high on it, and I can see that they're trying, and they're almost doing a mirror universe type season right now, which I'm like skeptical on. We'll see.
High like The Expanse or high like later Star Trek?
Like later Star Trek. It's
Like
not,
later
I
Star
wouldn't
Trek,
say
yeah.
it's Expanse level.
Oh,
Not-
okay,
No,
okay.
no,
not
no, no,
close.
Yeah.
I would agree with that. So, all right, guys. What else we want to talk about with Galaxy Quest? Anything else you guys wanted to bring up?
Nope.
I'm good.
One other fact I'll throw out there before I move on to the ratings. That this movie did do pretty good. It was $45 million budget, and it did do $90 million at the box office. So it wasn't a bomb. That's why it's still out there, and it's even become bigger and bigger in as being a cult classic. So and stuff. So which is funny because I didn't even know about when I went to the theater. I heard about it, but I wasn't like sure about it. I honestly myself only saw it on VHS after it came out. Actually, it would have been DVD at that time.
I think I
DVD.
saw this in theaters. Maybe not opening weekend, but yeah, I think I saw it in theaters.
I kind of wish I'd been a little bit more aware and seen it in the theater. I was a
Yeah,
poor student at the time, though.
That doesn't say anything about me. I almost missed the first Matrix. So
I would have missed the first Matrix. I actually didn't hardly even know about it if it hadn't been some friends at work in '99, which tells you. I mean, this came out in the same year as the Matrix. I was, for some reason, just not. I was a little bit more. I was busy at school, so I wasn't keeping my ear to the movies as much, and I almost missed it. Some of my friends, I saw a couple commercials of it. I'm like, oh, that looks interesting, and I almost missed it too until two friends that I didn't normally hang out with drugged me to the movie, and they're like, "You want to come along with us?" And I think they asked me because I might have been in the break room at the exact same time as they were.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
I heard
about
drugged, not drug.
Oh,
So I'm like, they drugged you to take you to Galaxy Quest.
Well, that would make Matrix a really wild ride, depending on the drug.
All right, guys. Let's move on to the ratings. Go ahead. You want to start, John?
Sure, I'd watch this with my mom. It's a fun film.
Do you think she would enjoy it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think she would.
Awesome. Crit, what do you think?
I'll give it 8 out of 10 human Thermian hybrid children.
Children.
How many tentacles would it have, I wonder?
Yeah, that's a good question. I wonder what the dominant traits are.
Yeah. I know where it'd have a good career. In space.
You know what? I don't know if I have the right number here in my. What was the object that the time travel object called again?
Omega 13.
There we go. I wrote it down wrong. So I'm giving it 9 out of 10 Omega 13 time moments. Right. And I do own this movie on DVD.
I bet.
I've owned it for quite a while now.
Yeah. This is a Josh movie all around.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. Big time. Well, overall, really good reviews and really fun to watch. I'm glad we had the opportunity to do that. Good call on it, Crit, for offering it as one of the choices.
Yeah. And
stuff. You guys ready to move into the next month's topic?
Yep.
And as everybody out there didn't hear last week, our next month's topic is martial arts films. And that was picked by me. I couldn't believe we hadn't done martial arts films yet. And there's a lot of good stuff out there. And so, here we go, guys. Here's my 3 for this next week under the topic of martial arts films. Number 1. This movie has a beginning and an end.
Okay.
Number 2. This movie lets you know that it's not over yet. Number 3. This is the way that martial arts is done.
So I have to applaud you on your cryptic film choices.
Yeah, non-content choices.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is funny because a lot of these
movie
are
has
actually,
a director.
No, these are actually taglines to these movies.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
2 of them are. One of them is I just came up with it. But anyway,
Sure.
Yeah.
I like the first one.
The beginning and end, huh?
Yeah.
Sure. Let's go with number 1.
Okay. Number 2. This movie lets you know it's not over yet. This is the tagline for The Raid 2. Electric Boogaloo.
Okay.
Number 3. This is the way that martial arts is done. Bruce Lee's Way of the Dragon. And the number 1 movie that you guys picked, this movie has a beginning and an end. It's actually the tagline for the 3rd movie, which is The Matrix. You guys picked The Matrix. Which I'm actually kind of, any one of these I would have been like totally happy with. I really like the depth of the original first Matrix, since we even talked about it in this podcast.
Well, I mean, we're going to be hashing out lots of different stuff, so that's going to be great.
Yeah, there's a lot to talk about, but the other 2 would have been great too. I've never seen Way of the Dragon, so that's why I picked it. And so, as one of my other choices. So, but I'm very happy to know that we picked The Matrix, since we haven't really, we talk about some things every once in a while with it, but we've never gone in deep on it. So go deep with The Matrix.
Cool.
And stuff. So, all right, guys, that's what it is. And, thank you for the podcast today. And to everybody out there listening, thank you for supporting our channel. We really enjoy doing this for you every week. And if you like what we're doing, click the like button and subscribe. And it really helps us out here. And as always, may you be excellent to each other and live long and prosper from all of us here at Josh's House of Nerd. Good night.
Thanks for watching. For more nerdy awesomeness, please like and subscribe and check out our other nerdy videos.